Hello, children. Good morning. Today we are looking at our new reading lesson. Now, last reading lesson, we looked at a visit to Cleaver Woods and we talked about the Amerindians being the first people in Trinidad and Tobago. Today, for our new reading lesson, we'll be looking at place. Now, we have the PL, the silent E here making the A say A. So this word is ace. The C makes us like a S sound. Place, then the same silent E, so the A will say A. Aims, names. Place names from the Amerindians. Read it with me now. Place names from the Amerindians. That's the name of our reading lesson today. Now, today you are going to meet some children who are in their class. Now, most of the lessons are about children just like you who are in their class and they're learning lots of new things. Today, we're looking at the place names that we have in Trinidad and Tobago that are Amerindian names. Okay, so let's begin reading. Now here's someone's name. It has the E sound in it. So let's go. Isa. Risa. That's a girl's name. Say it again. Risa. Okay, let's go. Risa and her classmates are in class at this time. Read it after me now. Come on. Listen first. Risa and her classmates, go ahead, are in class at this time. Continue. Let's read the entire thing. Read it, listen first, and then you read it after me. Risa and her classmates are in class at this time. Now it's your turn. Go ahead. Very good. Let's continue. Now here's a tricky word that we should know. Some of us forget it. Let's spell it. They. 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 And here we have, it's not a tricky word, but it's a word we can sound out. Now remember the ER giving you the sound. Let's go. P, ow, O-U-W in the middle here, giving the ow sound. Let's go. P, our, power. That word is power. Okay, let's look at another word here in red. It's a word we could sound out too. We have the OI, oi here. You see that? OI giving the oi sound. That OI here giving the oi sound. So let's sound it out now. Come on. P, oi, t. Point. That word is point. You remember what this one is? Power. And this one is point. Now here's a long word. Now, some time ago, we did syllables and words, and we said that we can break up the word into parts to make sound out easier. So let's try that. And we're going to cut this word. Let's see. We're going to cut it here between the S and the E. And we're going to cut it here. And let's see. Let's see if we can sound it out now. Now, some of these letters are tricky. They're given a different sound, like the Z will say, the S will say a Z sound. Let's sound this first part. P, R, as, prez. And let's put it with ENT now. And, ent. So put prez with ent. Present. Okay, now we have to, even though, now even though we have this A here, it's not going to give the A sound. It's going to give the long sound. You see, I told you this word was tricky. It's long and it's very tricky. That's why we have to break it up into parts. This A is going to say A. And you see Tion here? That sound is shun. See how tricky it is? If we had to write it the way it sounded, we'll have to write shun. But it's not shun, it's tiun. So it's shun. So we know the A is saying A and the TION is saying shun. Let's try it out now. A shun. A shun. Remember that? So let's go back to the top. Remember this part here? Present. So we could, let's take off this cut here, right? So we can have present Asian. Let's put together presentation. Say it, presentation. What's the word? Presentation. Okay. Now there's a college in San Fernando that's called Presentation College. You know that? But in this case, we're not looking at the Presentation College. Let's see how or what this word means here. Let's start from here. They are looking, read that, at a PowerPoint presentation. Let's read the whole thing now. Listen first. They are looking at a PowerPoint presentation. You read it now. Okay, so it says they are looking at a PowerPoint presentation. Now, a PowerPoint presentation is really pictures that are on your computer that you look at. Something like what we're looking at here now. It looks just like this. You can use pictures, as I said, or you can use words like I have here. That's called a PowerPoint presentation. Okay? It looks similar to this, but it's a little different. It's about really looking at pictures and words on the computer. So to present it means that it's going to be shown to everybody. And this is the name of it, PowerPoint. Okay? Now let's read from the top from Risa and up to the word presentation. Read with me now. We're going slowly first. Risa and her classmates are in class at this time. They are looking at a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so where are Risa and her classmates at this time? Yes, they're in class and they are looking at the PowerPoint presentation. Let's see what they're looking at. Let's look. They see place names. Remember the word place and names from here. Read it now. They see place names. Again, read it. That were named by the Amerindians. That were named by the Amerindians. Let's read it now. They see place names that were named by the Amerindians. So they're looking at that PowerPoint presentation and they're actually seeing the names of places in Trinidad and Tobago that are named after by the Amerindians. That's what they are looking at. Now, let's read the entire thing from the beginning. Okay, let's do. Place names from the Amerindians. Read that now. Risa and her classmates are in class at this time. They are looking at a PowerPoint presentation. They see place names that were named by the Amerindians. Okay, now I want you to listen while I read it. I'm going to read it fluently. Remember, we're looking at fluent reading, and which is reading without stopping. Okay, so I want you to pay attention, and afterwards we read it together, and then I'm going to give you some time to read it on your own. Okay? Okay, let's go. Listen. Place names from the Amerindians. Risa and her classmates are in class at this time. They are looking at a PowerPoint presentation. They see place names that were named by the Amerindians. Okay, and that's it. That's how we read fluently. You notice I stopped at the full stops and for a little bit, and then I continue. Now let's read it together. Now we're paying attention to full stops. We stop, probably count to 2 in your mind, and then you continue. Okay, let's begin from the top. 2, 3. Place names from the Amerindians. Risa and her classmates are in class at this time. They are looking at a PowerPoint presentation. They see place names that were named by the Amerindians. Very good. Now I'm going to give you some time to read it aloud on your own. After 4, 3, 4. Okay, were you able to read it on your own? All right, well done. So far, we have read about place names. We know that there are place names that were named by the Amerindians. Now let's take a look at some of those place names that were named by the Amerindians. Right. So here we have some new words that we're going to take a look at just before we begin to even read. Here's another long word. But are we afraid of long words? No. We cut them and then we sound them out. So we're going to put one there, one here, and one here. Okay, let's go. We know the first part already. I-N. What's that word? In. And we did D and I. D. I want you to remember that D. Sound of G-N. Gen. And the O-U-S, the O is silent, so we say us. Indigenous. Indigenous. Now let's try and figure out what that word indigenous means. I'm going to underline it again here. Indigenous. Let's read to find out. The Amerindians were the indigenous or first people to live on our islands. Read it with me now. Come on. The Amerindians were the indigenous or first people to live on our islands. So then what does that word indigenous mean? Yes. If you said indigenous means first people, you are correct because they gave us the answer right here when they use the word or. The Amerindians were the indigenous or first people, right? That gives you the meaning of the word. Instead of using the word indigenous, you can use the words first people. So indigenous means first people. Okay? Right. Yes. So let's read that again. The Amerindians were the indigenous or first people to live on our islands. Let's continue. Here we have Miss John, their class teacher. Read that now. Miss John, their class teacher. Here's another word. This has A-L-L in the middle here. We know A-L-L is all. So let's sound out. Alls, calls. Right. Miss John, their class teacher, calls out the, here's a word here, a tricky word, words. What's that word? Words. And here we have another word in red here that we could sound out. Screen. Screen. Okay, so we know the word calls, we know the word words, and we know the word screen. Read now, listen and read after me. Miss John, there's a comma here, so I have to stop a bit. Miss John, their class teacher, calls out the words on the screen. Read it with me now. Miss John, their class teacher, calls out the words on the screen. Right, now it's your turn to read it for yourself. Come on, from Miss John. Very good. That was excellent. Let's continue. The words are, read it. Now here we're getting some Amerindian words. We know this one, Arima. So if we put nap with Arima, what do we get? Naparima, right? So we have Arima, Naparima, Paria, Aruka, Miaro. Miaro is just after Tableland and so on, you know. Let's read the place names again. Arima, Naparima, Paria, Aruka, Miaro. Read the sentence now. The words are Arima, Naparima, Paria, Aruka, Miaro. Let's read from Miss John. Come on. Miss John, their class teacher, calls out the words on the screen. The words are Arima, Naparima, Paria, Aruka, Mearu. Well done, children. Now let's see if we can read the entire thing now. Make it a little smaller. And let's just erase some of those lines that we have there. Right? Okay. Now let's just make it a little smaller so that we can see some more words, some more place names. Here we have some more. We have, now this part is easy. Una, tuna, and here's puna. Put it together. Tuna, puna. Erin, and this very long one, Guayari. Guayari. This one is long. So let's see them again. Arima, Naparima, Paria, Aruka, Miaro, Tunapuna, Erin, and Guayari. Wow, those are long place names. So let's look now at the first part. We are going to read from the beginning. And then I'm going to read from the beginning. And I'm going to turn so that you can see it afterwards a little better. Okay, right, so let's go. Place names from the Amerindians. Risa and her classmates are in class at this time. They are looking at a PowerPoint presentation. They see place names that were named by the Amerindians. Let me just move up now. The Amerindians, let's move up a little bit. The Amerindians were the indigenous or first people to live on our islands. Let's read that again. The Amerindians were the indigenous or first people to live on our islands. Miss John, their class teacher, calls out the words on the screen. The words are Arima, Naparima, Paria, Aruka, Mearo, Tunapuna, Erin, and Guayari. Very good, children. That was excellent.